What's up, guys? This is Ryan Johnson with moneybass.com. Let's go ahead and get these systems booted up. And what we will be taking a look at today for our Tuesday electronics tutorials and tips is how to use your mapping to safely navigate and run lakes. So with this, we'll go ahead and boot the systems up. We don't need to go into simulation mode or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and let both of these boot up. On this system right here, I am running my Lake Master chip, and this one actually has Smart Strike on it. We won't go into that tonight, but just wanted to go ahead and add that in there just in case that is the chip that you have in your system. And this one over here, I am running Navionics. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the exit key. Go ahead and get into these screens. Hit the exit key on that one. And as I showed you before, if you've been keeping up with these little tutorials, quick tutorials, hold in that menu button. And let's go to chart. And on here, we'll go to chart view. And that will bring up the mapping. From there, navigate over to the closest lake. All right, and we'll just pick a spot on this lake. Let's go down here by the dam. So let's see. Zoom in a little bit. Get my orientation right. Okay, so the dam is going to be right down here. All right, there we go. All right, now on this one, let's do the same thing. Let's just zoom out. Take this over to Lake Lanier. Zoom in on this lake. And what this will show you is just how, in my opinion, I like the Lake Master chip a lot better because of the highlight, the ability to highlight and things that it shows. But I do like the Navionics side because there are a lot of lakes that we, well, not a lot, but there are a few lakes that we go to where the Lake Master may not show any contours at all. So it's always good to have your Navionics chip. And also you can download Navionics onto your phone, and that way if you do get to a place where you don't have any mapping or anything like that, at least you can pull up that Navionics app on your phone. If anyone is aware if they have a Humminbird or any well, Lake Master or any other type of mapping that you can download on your phone, please put that in the comments. Guys, once again, always read the description and the comment section because there are a lot of guys that are helpful, putting good information in there and are willing to help you guys out. So like I said, we can always work together, help each other get a lot better out on the lakes. But let's just go ahead and start from here. So one of the first things that I would do on these lakes is, especially if I'm going to be navigating a lake that I have not been to or I'm not familiar with, I'll go into the menu settings. So I hit menu twice, and you want to go over to HB chart. And under here, what you'll see is that you have your shallow water highlight. I'll turn that on. And then this right here, the shallow water highlight is going to just color everything red. So everything 10 feet and under right now is going to be red. But if this is a lake that you are not familiar with, you can bump that up just to make yourself a little more comfortable, to make sure that you don't get anywhere near any shallow water whenever you're first running the lake and setting up your trails as you run the lake. You can go ahead and bump that up to 15. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this did for me. So if we are starting down here from the dam, you can basically see the channel right here. As long as you stay in these channels, for the most part, you don't really have anything to worry about other than any type of floating debris or anything like that. So you always want to make sure that you stay aware on the lakes of what you're coming up on or anything like that. But as far as running into shallow water, let me just zoom out a little bit. So let's say we're running up here, running this channel. And again, as long as you're staying in the channel, you're pretty much going to be fine. And that's with just about any of the lakes that we fish. But once you start going back into coves and things like that, so let's go ahead and we're going up the lake. Now we're going to come over and start fishing some coves, for example. So if you're going to be running over here, you can obviously see that area right there, you want to stay away and do not run over that area. Anything that's red is basically you just want to stay away from it. And there's really no need to get too close to areas. So if you're running the lake and you see this right here, you know this is going to be 15 foot and under right here. So why run that close when you have all this area over here? So just run way out here to stay away from it. And one of the things that made me decide to make this particular video is I saw someone where they had actually ran onto a sandbar, and they have a video on YouTube, and they're explaining to everyone like, hey, we stayed in the channel the whole time. The mapping was wrong, and you can't always rely on the mapping. Well, I was watching his mapping while he was running the lake, and the guy was actually running outside of the channel. So apparently, whenever he was looking at the channel, what was land, I think he was actually looking at that as being water. So he was running right on the edge of where the land and the water channel was, because the water channel, as you can see, for example, right here, this water channel, the channel right here, it comes kind of close to the land, but it still has a good distance from it. So if you do not know how to read your mapping, it can be a real dangerous thing. So whenever he ran up on the sandbar, he gets out of the boat, he shows his map again and says, hey, I stayed inside of the channel. But what he was doing is this right here is the channel. You can see that water right there says 147 feet deep. So it has some real deep water, but you can pretty much see that this is a channel running inside of this lake. Even though this water out here is 80 feet deep and things like that, that is the main channel. So he was running along this side of it, but he happened to be on, seems like it was some type of area where it went into like a small river or something like that. But he was running on this line instead of running inside of the channel. And see, as you zoom in, it'll give you a better view of how wide that channel is and how close you're actually getting to the edges of it. So you can zoom in if you want. So obviously there are going to be some lakes that are a lot easier and safer to navigate than others. So for instance, this is Lake Lanier. So if you look at this lake, as far as running into any red areas, you have a lot of space where you can run without running into any red areas where you may run the risk of running into shallow water. Most of the time that shallow water highlight is set around 5 or something like that. If I want to stay around, stay away from shallow water. But again, if you've seen one of the other tutorials where I show you how you can use that shallow water highlight and the depth water highlight to locate points, things like that, areas of interest where you can locate fish at, make sure you take a look at that video. I will put a link down in the description on that. So as you're coming through here, you can kind of see some areas where it's red, but you want to zoom in. Zooming in, you just press the plus button, and that's what's going to zoom in. The negative button is going to, the minus button is going to zoom out. So let's go ahead and continue to zoom out real quick. So we're running through here. You can see areas where you want to stay away from while you're running the lake, so that you don't accidentally run over the shallow water where there could be rocks, stumps, treetops, or anything like that sticking up. So it just lets you know to be aware whenever you're coming close to anything red. And obviously the brown is land, so you definitely don't want to run into anything that's land. So like I said, this lake right here is something that's fairly easy to run, because most of this water is going to be, like you can look here, that's 105 feet deep, 114, 117. Even when you come over closer to these, say like one of these points over here, and let's zoom in on that, you see it's still 60 feet out here. So there's no need to run close to that red area. Just stay away from that and stay out here in the main channel. Now, let me go to a lake that's a little more difficult to run. I will go to Lake Eufaula. I know that is a lake that a lot of people are scared of, because with that lake, you have to make sure you stay inside of the buoys. And the actual buoys on that lake, the last I heard, they aren't always maintained, so you can't always go by those buoys. So you definitely want to know how to run a lake using your mapping system. All right, let me go ahead and go to Eufaula. Hold on one second. All right, guys, so now I have found Lake Eufaula, and I pretty much just zoomed in right where we normally blast off from on this lake. And so now let's just go ahead and start running this lake. And once we get up here, I will show you what makes this lake kind of scary for a lot of people whenever they start trying to navigate it. So we're coming along here, and you're trying to stay inside of this channel. And let me just zoom out just so I can give you an idea of what you're going to be up against. So as you see, you're not going to be running just straight lines with this. So you're going to be running up here, then you're going to make a sharp zigzag trying to stay inside of this channel. So I've seen some people, they cut right across here because they're able to read their maps, and they can see that that's still 17 feet of water, and they may have already ran that before and put their trails. And the trail is the line that you leave as you're running the lake. So let's just see. So we're running this, and we're staying inside of this channel. You're going to swing way to the right. Then that's almost close to the land. So look at how close this channel swings over here to this land. So knowing how to read that mapping is very important whenever you're trying to run this lake. So let's see. We'll keep on going. Let's zoom out a little bit. But when you're running the lake, of course, you can zoom in. And also what I do sometimes is I will put this on a split screen. So I will have one side of the screen on mapping and the other side on mapping, and one of them will be zoomed in to about this range, and another one will be zoomed out so that I can see what's coming ahead. All right, so let's just go ahead and continue running this line. And see, we swing over again to some shallow water over here. So you have to really be paying attention whenever you're running this lake. And if you're not familiar with it, it's not a race. You want to make sure you stay safe. So look here, here we go again. We're swinging right over to some land again. So you'll see a lot of people out here that are very familiar with this lake. They will be flying 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour going through here. But I definitely would not advise that to someone that is not familiar with their mapping and not familiar with your lake, with this lake. And as you can see, look at all of this red area. You have to stay inside of this channel. And when you're on this lake, this map makes it look very obvious, but when you're out on the lake, it is not obvious at all, because all of this looks like it's the same water depth whenever you're on the boat and just looking across the lake. You can't tell that that's 4 feet of water by looking at it, and you can't tell that this is 60 feet of water by looking at it. But look how close you are whenever you're running this lake to just running up on land. So you really have to be paying attention, and it really pays to take the time to just sit at home or you know, in your garage or whatever before you go to the lake, and just take the time to go through here and see how you have to zigzag and everything across this lake. So just look at that. Whenever we came through here, we're zigging to the left, to the right. Now you come down here, you have to go way across to the other side. You don't want to just run straight through here. I mean, some of the local guys, they're familiar enough with the lake where I do see them flying across there. But like I said, they probably have trails to where they've done it before. But there you go, guys. Just staying inside of that channel. And it will help sometimes if you zoom in on it, because it'll make it wider, and it will allow you to see the area that you have to stay in between a little bit better. So you're just flying along this lake, and you're staying inside of it the whole time. All right, guys. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, or someone may have some tips, or see something that you think may help someone out, make sure you leave that down in the comment section. All right, guys, I really appreciate you continuing to support the channel. Make sure you hit the like button and read the description and the comments. I'll put a link to another tutorial in here that shows you how to use the shallow water highlight, because I think that will be helpful to you. But once again, I appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.